What, we have some huge breaking news. Danny, Chelsea have parted way with Thomas Tuchel. So Thomas Tuchel is no longer the Chelsea manager. We're going to be bringing you a statement from Chelsea Football Club any moment now. They have just announced this huge news after that shock defeat in the Champions League. But how shocking is this to you,
take
Danny?
back what I just said.
Yeah.
Clearly he's not going to get any more time to make that work. I mean, this is Abramovich-esque, isn't it?
It
you know,
is.
how things would go on. You've just allowed all these players to come into the football club, new regime, he's a good manager. I just wonder, you know, he had the Scott Parker situation where he criticised the owners, the transfer policy, the players a little bit. He's done that once or twice already this season. Clearly, Todd Bowley has thought, right, enough's enough. We need somebody else in. But I guess who comes in next? The name that obviously immediately springs to mind is Mauricio Pochettino.
There you go. We'll tell you what, we'll talk about who could potentially be taking over, but let's just talk about the man that is leaving Chelsea Football Club. If you're just joining us, you can see there Chelsea have sacked Thomas Tuchel. It was a very short tweet saying Chelsea Football Club have announced that they have parted ways with the manager. There's a short statement online as well. In the last couple of minutes, they've said, on behalf of everyone at Chelsea Football Club, the club would like to place on record its gratitude to Thomas and his staff for all their efforts during their time with the club. Thomas will rightly have a place in Chelsea's history after winning the Champions League, the Super Cup and Club World Cup in his time here. He said, as the new ownership group reaches 100 days since taking over the club and as it continues its hard work to take the club forward, the new owners believe it is the right time to make this transition. They say Chelsea's coaching staff will take charge of the team for training and the preparation of our upcoming matches as the club moves swiftly to appoint a new head coach. There will be no further comment until a new head coach appointment is made. Do you think there were signs, because a bit of an indication from some of the comments that he made himself, didn't he, after the game, about not quite knowing himself what was going wrong?
And it's not the first time he's said similar sort of comments so far this season. You know, he's taken responsibility for the games, but he said, you know, we can't play like this. We're not aggressive enough. We're not high tempo. We haven't worked hard enough. Performances aren't good enough. Clearly, I think we could all see that something wasn't quite right. But like I just said before the news broke, I think we all assumed that was a little bit of a hangover from last season and what had happened and happened obviously with the ownership of the football club. Signings then coming in, Todd Bowley taking the reins as not only owner but chief exec, chief scout, chief of recruitment, chief of everything effectively. That hasn't gone as smoothly as maybe some thought it should do this season. I thought he would be given a little bit more time, but clearly they've decided to make a change very, very quickly, which is a huge shock, is a huge surprise. But I guess now it's who comes in next and how quickly can they get that person in.
And they're going to have to deal with all the decisions that we think that Tuchel did make in bringing in his own players.
Yeah, Thomas Tuchel must have been involved because Todd Bowley's he's not a football man.
No.
Very, very good businessman, very good sports operator, but not in football. So there must have been huge discussions from Thomas Tuchel about what players he wanted and had the final say. And now it's down to somebody else to come in last minute, pick up the pieces and try and put it all together, and that's not going to be easy either.
One of the things that he did say after the game was, you know, he criticised this lack of hunger and intensity, but surely that comes from the manager, doesn't it?
Of course it does. I think, you know, you see that. You look at, and we'll talk about them later, Antonio Conte's teams. You know, they are about working hard, desire, and that's what fans want to see. Fans will always accept mistakes, they will always accept technical deficiencies, but they won't accept lack of hard work and lack of desire. And when a manager starts to question that, you start thinking, well, are the players playing for the manager? Maybe they weren't in this instance. Maybe there's something else that's gone on that we don't know about that may come out sooner rather than later. We find out a little bit more. But yeah, really surprised to hear that news this morning.
Almost sort of slightly cutthroat, isn't it? Just in the manner that they've done it straight away off the back of this. And
there's no messing about there, is there? It's like they've looked at the Champions League result last night, obviously listened to his comments, a little bit like with Scott Parker, and just gone, right, that's it, you're out. And they clearly haven't got anybody in mind as yet to appoint, but I would expect an appointment within a week at least.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a lengthy list of managers currently out of work who would love to take on that.
There's probably some in work as well, probably like that, rubbing their hands together, thinking, "Oh, I wouldn't mind that job."